How's it going, guys? So, I got into a little bit of a back and forth with a friend of mine. Friendly back and forth, nothing horrible. Regarding what we see going on with, I guess you can call it Israel advocacy today, and all that kind of stuff. And he sent me a video of like two guys who have really no, I want to say connection to Israel. I think one guy was like an American Jewish guy arguing with these, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this Fresh and Fit podcast or whatever it is, these influencer guys. So I said to my friend, I said to him, there's really not much of a point to argue with people about Israel. People who already kind of, don't like Israel and are labeling Israel the aggressor and the colonizer and I don't know, whatever, white supremacists, fascists, Nazi, this, that, and the other. The army, whether it's the army or the whole country or the government, X, Y, and Z. Not that I'm a fan of the government, just so you know, but you guys know what I mean. So, I told my friend, in the 25 cumulative years that I've been involved in any kind of Israel anything, what I found is that largely it's completely pointless. It's a waste of breath to try to convince people that Israel is, justified in doing what they're doing, that Israel's the good guys, that Israel, that like talking to people about history and geography and the Torah, all these things are completely pointless if you're talking to people who already have their minds made up. Almost pointless. Like you out of every maybe 100 or 1,000 people, you might turn, maybe if you're lucky, like one or two people, maybe, if that. Folks, what I found is better to do is to take or approach or talk to the bevy of Jews, both in the diaspora and in Israel, who don't know so much about the Torah, their own history, geography of Israel, and either mehazek, like to strengthen them in the knowledge of these things, or to give them knowledge which they otherwise don't have. Folks, and right now the iron is hot for that, as you can see. People are open to hearing things. Guys, for example, it's astounding to me, right? The most astounding thing to me, and it's been like that, I've been thinking about this for a very long time, and I've been saying this for a long time and thinking it, how astounding it is that Israelis obviously know about what happened in 1967, but for some reason, I know the reason, but I still find it incredible that, you keep hearing about, we need a two-state solution, or we need to, give back the West Bank, and they were even considering giving the Golan Heights away, and look at those settlers in X, Y, and Z. Folks, you realize that Israel was attacked by 5 Arab armies. Israel, preempted the attack. They knew the attack was coming. And in the war, in the 6-day war, they captured what is Judea and Samaria, what people call the West Bank, and they captured the Golan Heights and, the old city of Jerusalem, the entirety of Jerusalem, East Jerusalem. Includes, where the Kotel is today, includes the old city. And at one point we had the Temple Mount, and then we gave it to the Waqf, right? The Jordanian entity. But folks, so we captured this in a war of self-defense, what the Arabs called, and I think Gamal Abdel Nasser called a war of annihilation. It was a war of annihilation on their part. And it's astounding to me that Israelis and even secular Jews in America think or agree or perceive that, okay, now that we defended ourselves against these bloodthirsty enemies, in a war of extermination. Let's give back that land, these lands that we captured in this war. Folks, even if you take away the religious aspect of it, how stupid is that from a military perspective? Especially since both parts, guys, they call the Golan Heights. They are heights. You know what's also heights? Judea and Samaria. They are heights. It's a mountain region. It's the mountainous region of Israel, folks. The best grapes, I work in the wine industry. The best grapes in Israel come from there. Besides the Golan Heights, which is amazing, volcanic soil and all the rest of it. Guys, these two areas that we captured are military high ground. There are vantage points from Judea and Samaria and the West Bank. You can go and you could see the entirety of Tel Aviv. You can see the entirety of. You can literally, God forbid, aim at Ben Gurion Airport and fire, if you're the enemy of Israel, at anything you want over there, and hit the target, folks. This is madness. Again, I'm not even going into the religious aspect. And yes, halacha says you can't give away any land that you captured in a war. Once you capture it, that's it. And anyway, it's yours. On top of that, folks. So, my friends, it's astounding to me that Israelis, knowing what they know about the history, at least of that one event, I'm not even talking about 73, I'm not even talking about anything else, still have been convinced, A, that they should give away land. The government was considering giving away the Golan Heights until the year 2000. There's been a back and forth about Judea and Samaria, all the way up to October 7th. I think now people understand that we cannot give that back, give any of it away. And maybe even now, a lot of people understand that we should take Gaza, even the people who didn't believe that prior to that. So, my friends, what does that mean? That means that we have to what's called mehazek our own people. That is the only thing we should be doing. We should not be talking to, giving what's called the kasbara, explanations to the world. Folks, the ones who like us already like us. The ones who don't like us are going to continue not to like us. It doesn't matter what argument we give them. But my friends, today I had a conversation with somebody who follows my Instagram. A person who grew up totally secular in Israel. An example, I showed them an old synagogue from the year, from the 5th century or 6th century, 1500 years ago, called Beit Alpha. The person said, wow, I didn't know about this. This is a person who grew up in Israel. Folks, you have to ask yourself the question, why do I know about this and they don't? Why do I know about all of these graves of tzaddikim, of holy people? It doesn't even have to, you don't have to be religious, folks, to know about these things. Why do I know about this and they don't? Folks, it's astounding. But it just goes to show you that the government has been instrumental since probably the mid-70s, the Israeli government, in basically lying to people by omission, in withholding information from students, from college students, from young people, from Israeli society, and they've been hammering away at religion, at Jewish culture, against religion, against Torah, against Hashem. Folks, openly. They've been doing it openly. And here we are today, where, folks, the world follows our lead. Even secular Jews in the diaspora follow the lead of Israel. If Israelis don't even believe that half of their land is theirs, or maybe the entirety of their land is theirs, and some of them want to leave Israel and move back to move to Berlin, not back to Berlin, but move to Berlin, and say that we are occupiers. Folks, how do you think the world's going to react? How do you think Jewish college students are going to react? You're surprised that they're joining Students for Justice in Palestine marches, and If Not Now marches, and Piss Now marches, I like to call them. There's a bunch of these organizations. Folks, you're surprised that Jewish students or students with Jewish last names are joining these things? I'm not surprised, because the Israeli government and all these things that are funded here in America by the Israeli government and all these organizations are doing just a bang-up job and educating Jewish students, folks. Folks, Israel does not need to be defended. The Jewish people need to know why they even have Israel to begin with. what is the purpose of this whole thing? Why is it good that we took back certain parts of our land in 1967? Why is it good that we defended those parts in 1973? Why is it good that there are Jews moving out to live in those places all the way up until today? My friends, that's what we should be talking about. We should be showing videos up and down that area of artifacts, of places like Shiloh, of places like Susia, where we had, from the Talmudic era, Jews who came there after the destruction of the Second Temple, that we had a continuous Jewish presence in Judea and Samaria. Folks, this is what we should be showing our young people. Not, beaches are nice, guys. High tech is nice, but that's not the point. Ben Gurion House in Tel Aviv is not the point. These birthright trips where it's like, I'm not going to talk about what goes on. It's not the point, okay? The point is for our young people to know our deep and rich history in the land. What is the Torah? Again, I'm not talking about putting on black hats or keeping Shabbat and kosher, which, it's good to do that. Halavai, everybody should do it. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about for people to know who they are and to care. Folks, now, it took 2,000 what's called korbanot for people to wake up and to finally care. Unfortunately, Hashem had to do it this way. I don't know why he had to do it this way. And I'm upset because Hashem, could do anything and he could have done it in a different way, but he chose to do it this way, I guess. And even now we have this dystopian situation where, the so-called fake right-wing prime minister picks up the phone, has to talk to some Obama bots. Some have Jewish last names, don't have Jewish last names, about negotiations and about ceasefires on orcs in Mordor. Folks, this is madness. It's still madness, right? And Hashem's allowing it. Hashem is doing it. Guys, I mean that's just Jewish philosophy. Nothing happens, everybody's got free will. Our leaders, so to speak, have free will, but ultimately without Hashem's approval, none of this happens, guys. Bibi doesn't pick up the phone on what's his face? The cardboard man, or his little, surrogates. My friends, the only things we should be doing is educating our own people, because what's going to happen is if the world sees that we believe that this is our land, that we know this is our land, but we actually we own it. We own the narrative. We own it. As I like to say, just own it. When the world sees that, there's not going to be any more discussions. There's not going to be any more students of Jewish last names standing in front of Israel events screaming about, free Fakistan and fascism and this and that and the other, and white supremacy, where half of our country, half of Israel is not white people, okay? Jews from Yemen and Jews from North Africa, who came, repatriated from North Africa, and Jews from Iraq and Jews from everywhere else who were exiled, all those places. My friends, and we're just sitting around, we're pouring millions of dollars into these organizations defending Israel. Folks, again, our enemies or the people who hate our country, hate Jews, they don't care. They don't care about the Torah. They don't care. They say, yeah, listen, it's yours, but up to a certain, at best they say, yeah, but that doesn't mean you should go killing people just because it's yours. Folks, obviously we don't wake up in the morning to kill people. We know that, right? These guys want to shecht us, they want to slaughter us, and we're just defending ourselves. They don't care about that. When we tell people that, do they care? No, they don't care. They're happy to see dead Jews. My friends, we're talking to air. We are talking to walls. There's no one to talk to. The only thing to do is educate our own people. The majority of our own people have no clue about where our civilization even began. They think it began in Tel Aviv or in Haifa. Folks, that's not where it began. And I can say, well, yeah, just because it began in that place doesn't mean that this and that. Folks, yes, it does mean. And the fact that Hashem gifted to us, any keen observer of history gifted it to us on a silver platter in 67, obviously it means that it's ours. Obviously. It's obvious. At least to me. A few other people I know. My friends, I've been at it for 25 years. Just as I told my friend. It's a waste of breath. It's a waste of ink. It's a waste of keystrokes to argue with people who don't, who call us this, that, and the other. Again, just educate your own people, educate your young people on campuses, wherever you have to do it. Your own children, family, friends, etc., etc., etc. That is the only thing we should be doing. And the minute all 14 or 15 million of us understand what the plot is, because we've lost the plot, and that is when we're going to be able to do what we need to do. We're going to be able to elect the right leaders, because we don't have leaders now, and we're going to be able to do what we need to do, and we'll have peace. That's basically it, guys. Alright, guys. That's enough for me for now, and talk to you soon.